All right, so this is what we have, and I cannot remember if I did anything behind the scene, but yeah, we can actually just start doing the eye bag mask painting thing because this is one of the things that is actually missing here. So why not, right? And we also have not painted Carancula yet, but don't you worry, we are gonna do that. So right now, this is what we are gonna be painting: eye bag mask, and I think I've already talked about why we are creating a different mask, right? So the idea is to just use that and control various stuff, for example, roughness, subsurface scattering, and things like that. And we can actually just use the nodes and have a whole lot of control, basically. So yeah, now we can, the way we are going to be doing that is pretty simple. If you were to go to your color attribute, but before I do that, I am actually just talking about the eye bag area. You can see, we are, okay, let's just go into the color attribute first. I can talk about that later. And our color is in the color, wait, the our base color is in this color attribute that we have over here. We only have one, so you basically get the idea. And before I do that, before I do anything, I am actually just gonna save the file once. And what we are gonna do, we are gonna be creating a new color attribute. So that's basically what the idea is. What you can do, I mean, if you feel like that, okay, first thing first, let's just do that, and give that a name, obviously. And the color, you can just put this at white because we can just paint a black mask on top of it. So that's gonna be much more better. And now we can actually paint here. All right, now let's just look at the reference, and you can see some of the stuff that is going on over here. Not whole area is pure black. We can actually see through some of the eyes as well, and it is going into the crevices as well. So this is pretty important, and I'm gonna show you a really cool way to achieve something similar, and that's going to be fun. Actually, you're gonna see some of the cool stuff there, and you can see that on the edges, like if you were to look at the border, on the edges of the border, it kind of, I mean, you can see more of the skin. That's what I'm trying to say. So we're gonna have to try and do that as well. So yeah, there is actually going to be a tip and a trick. Wait, tip and trick. Okay, I I need to really work on my language, but yeah, you get the idea. So obviously we are gonna be painting with the black only. We are not really gonna be using any color. And let's just say that you do have a situation where you have to use multiple colors. What you can do, you can create the mask separately and then create a different color attribute for the colors only. So that way you can actually just paint your colors. I really hope that you get the idea. So we are gonna be just I guess we are gonna be just using the normal cloud texture in order to give some variation. Try not to think about it as a color, by the way. Think about the intensity of mask, basically how much mask you want, and the more black you add, the less of the skin is gonna be visible. So that's basically what the idea is, and we can actually just continue. So you can see that I've added this patch. Let me just remove that, and now we can just start painting. Obviously, like how do you say it? I've totally forgotten the word. Don't paint on the eyeball area, like where the eyelash meet the eyeball. Don't paint on that area. Yeah, don't do something like this because we don't want this black part to go inside the eyes, right? So make sure that you do that, and just block out the color first. That's what I'll say. And you can see it is on the top as well, like on the upper eyelid as well. So we are gonna be adding that too, and let's just paint it out. You can actually just block it out first. I am just marking the border, like where I want it, and wherever I don't like wherever I want this mask, I am just creating like a line, like a border, and now I'm just gonna be filling up the inside part. So that's what I am doing right now. And if you were to look at different references, you're gonna realize that yeah, this is different in literally all the three images that we have. So that means you don't even have to match it exactly. You can just get away with it being looking nice. You don't have to match it 100%. So focus on making it look better or good instead of matching it 100%. At least that's what I am gonna be doing, and I am just gonna be adding a little bit of intensity with a little bit of intensity on the corner of the eye, because you can kind of see something similar on the reference as well. So I think that's gonna be some variation which we obviously can use. So yeah, let's just do that. Now again, we're gonna have to remove this black color from, like yeah, from the, I don't even know what you call it. I should have actually looked for the word, like the part where the eyelid, man. Okay. Eyelid meets the eyeball, we need to make sure that we don't have any of this black mask in that area. So this is what we have. Obviously, it's not the final mask because we actually have not done so many things that I've talked about. So first thing first, we are going to be removing it from this particular area, and you can actually just hold down control, I think, to select the opposite color. So you can just control, like hold down control, and you should be able to paint with the white. And if you were to just let go of the control, the brush is gonna be behaving normally. Yeah. And yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. It's just blocking wherever I actually want the paint. I don't think that I'm doing anything super complicated here. Obviously, because of the jittering, we are getting this wavy zigzag kind of pattern which we don't want. So I'm just gonna be removing the jitter, and let's just paint a simple mask. Maybe add a little bit of jitter to still get a little bit of randomness, but still I'm just making sure that the jitter is not too strong so that it does not destroy our clean line. Alright, so this is what we have, and if you wanna clean the line on the lower eyelid as well, just do that. Yeah, I'm literally just doing it. So this is basically our block-out, right? We still have not added any details, and we still have not removed some of the black to make sure that to make sure that the skin could be seen through. So the more white you have, the more skin you should be able to see. So that's basically what you need to keep in mind, and you can literally see how much skin you can see in the reference. So using that reference, just make sure that uh, you basically just follow that, right? And you can see that I'm adding a little bit of black underneath the mask to make it look like this part is a little bit dirty, and now I'm just gonna be removing it. So again, this is something that I've did to make it look like that he have smudged his eyes maybe. So something like that, just trying stuff. You should never be afraid of trying stuff. You can always just go back and fix it, because again, we are doing it digitally, and the only thing that it would cost you is a little bit of time. If you were to get it right on the first go, then you're only gonna be able to save time. So yeah, obviously time is also an important thing. I'm not saying that time is not really that important, but yeah. Alright, so we are just gonna be start removing some of the black, because this mask is gotten 100% black right now, and I don't think I actually want that. So I'm just gonna be start removing it, and you can see that we don't have this much black over here. So I'm just gonna be start removing it. You can see even in the reference. Again, you don't even have to be 100% accurate to the reference, but just make sure that it looks good and also looks kind of similar, right? So this is what we have, and yeah, this is, I think, is pretty good. So yeah, still wait. Okay, let me just take a deep breath. We still have not added any details. Right now, we are only blocking out the colors and stuff, and I'm just trying the constant fall off. Obviously, it's not gonna work. So let's actually put this back to the default, which I'm not doing, by the way. Okay, I am just trying to change the texture. Yeah, it is an good move. We should always try stuff. Okay, am I even okay? Let's just go back to cloud. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so I'm just trying to increase the contrast so that I can get a little bit more contrast in the details. But again, the fall off is not really something that I want. And it is actually looking pretty good. You can see if I were to just clamp it up, yeah, you can see you are getting this extra black. Yeah, it is, I think, gonna be working a little bit better like this. So that's pretty nice. I can just start adding some details. So yeah, you can see. So if you want to increase the contrast, you can actually get more details out of your brush. That's pretty cool. All right. So again, in the bottom area, you can see that, okay, so in this area that I have just pointed out, it is much more darker, and everywhere else it is pretty, like the skin could be seen, right? So I am just gonna try and copy that as well. Wherever I'm seeing it dark, I am just gonna keep the mask as full black, and wherever I am not really seeing it as black in the reference, I'm actually just gonna be adding a little bit of white to make sure that the skin could be seen through the mask. Alright, so still we are literally just blocking out the colors. We still have not gone into the details where I was gonna be adding these blacks in the cracks, but don't you worry, it's a really simple process. I don't think that it should be that complicated. Alright, so this is what we have, and obviously we have not created that stuff which I was talking about, to adding the black mask in the crevices and the cracks, basically in between the skin. So yeah, I guess before we do that, we are actually gonna try to set up a shader to see how is it looking, and yeah, after that base shader, we can actually just continue doing the painting. So let's just add an attribute node and basically just write in the same name. So Kajal mask in this case. By the way, if you don't know what Kajal is, this is basically the Hindi word for uh, like this thing. I don't even know what's the English word for it. So yeah, Kajal is what you would say it in Hindi. And yeah, okay. So obviously we are gonna be using it as mask. If you want to, you can use it as multiply as well. Doesn't really matter. And now your B is going to be your mask color, right? So yeah, whatever, sorry, not B, yeah, it's gonna be A because we painted it black, so it should be A, right? Because black is 0. So now whatever color you put in the A is going to be the color of your paint, the paint that he has, which is obviously not paint, I think, but whatever you wanna say it, call it. So one of the first thing that you can notice is we have not painted it over here, and yeah, it is actually looking a little bit weird on the border of the eyelid. So we're gonna have to spread it a little bit so that we can cover a little bit of eyelid. It's the eyeball area. And yeah, you can see how the mask is basically looking. The thing is, the mask is also the part of subsurface scattering, so we can literally just use this mask into a subsurface scattering input, and we can reduce the subsurface basically. So I think this is going to be the second thing that I'll do. And if you were to look at the roughness, it is at 0.012. So okay, so I think I've decided to increase the roughness. Maybe it was looking a little bit too shiny, and in the reference here, the Jack Sparrow skin is not really that shiny, so I guess that's what I'm trying to do here. And you can see that I've literally just put the Kajal mask. In this case, I put the wrong attribute actually, and you're gonna see. Am I gonna notice it? I am not noticing it. All right. Okay, but future me knows that the render is not going to come out okay because we literally used wrong color attribute, but it's okay. Uh, what can I do about it when my past self didn't really realize that. All right, so now that we saw that I put the wrong color attribute in the subsurface scattering, yeah, you can see the whole face's subsurface scattering have been affected, I think. Yeah, right? No? Yeah, you can see it's all right. I must have been so confused, like what's happening, it could have been a little bit better. But yeah, I'm talking about that we need to spread the black mask a little bit more because this eyelid area which connects with the eyeball is a little bit too exposed and I don't really like it. So yeah, I mean in the end the roughness is actually working okay. If you think about it, we've increased the roughness and at least the roughness is working fine. So that's good. But yeah, I've literally okay, totally my fault. But I've said it, I've talked about it, and now you know that we actually have put the wrong color. Yeah, you can see. Oh wait, I didn't even put the color attribute. Okay, I must have edited out the video. All right, I know what's happening now. I must have edited out the video, and after realizing that I put the wrong color. All right. So is this the render or am I gonna be doing a render now? But yeah, you can see the mask and how we can actually use it. The skin is looking much more rougher, which is what we wanted. Obviously, we are gonna be painting a specular map, which is going to tell Blender which part of the skin going to have more spec and which part of the skin is going to have less spec, so that we can technically control the roughness or the shininess in this case. Right now, it is equal on the whole face, so yeah, you cannot really um yeah, I mean, it's not natural to have it that on the whole face, right? So this is what we have. I think I must have increased the roughness a little bit more because this particular render is pretty rough. Like the skin is pretty rough. So yeah, now I feel like we can actually do something about the black mask thing. So or maybe I might not do it in this video, because I can actually see that the video is about to end. So there is a possibility that yeah, I might not do it. Yeah, I guess that's what's gonna happen. So before I go, I wanna say I promise you that I'm gonna show you how to paint in the cracks or in the detailed area of your face. Basically, you just go into the sculpt mode, right? And then you create a mask using cavity. Like there is an option there, you can actually find it pretty easily, and then you invert the mask and you basically paint out all the details. But yeah, in this case you can see what uh, I am actually talking about, and these are all the changes that we are gonna be doing. So I've actually just talked about the method, right? I think in the next video I'll show it to you. I don't really remember, but if I don't show it to you, just to know that I've told you how to do it. So just create a mask based on your details, and you can actually just paint that pretty easily. And yeah, I'll just see you in the next video. All right, so we are finally at the part where we can actually make some utility maps now that we are done with the color. And by the way, I've actually just changed some stuff behind the scenes. So let me just talk about that first. You can see that I've did this. So basically, I did this Carancula color, and yeah, I literally just forgot to record that. But you can see this is how it is. We made the corner basically the same color as the eyelashes. Wait, eyelid. Why? It's still okay. So yeah, you can see that they are actually matching with the eyelid, and I've added the veins. You already know how to do that. It's not super complicated. And if you were to look at the sculpt, you can see that I've actually decreased the size of the carancula as well with the sculpting. So this is something that I've did behind the scene, and the carancula, not the carancula, but the eyelid area, you can see that the corners are a little bit dark. So I've did this because obviously you can see that in the reference, and also it was like because of the subsurface scattering, it was getting a little bit too light, so I didn't really like that, and that's what I've changed. So yeah, I don't think that I actually needed to show you that because there is so much of trial and error stuff, and I cannot actually show you everything that I do in terms of trial and error. All right, so now that we've talked about what I've done behind the scene, let's talk about the spec. So you can see in this part, we are gonna need 100% spec because of the water of the eyeball. And in the lip area, in this case, the spec is a little bit low, but usually you have more spec in the lip area, you have more spec on the nose area, and you basically have a little bit of more spec on the cheek area as well, but not as much as you have on the nose. So this is something that we're gonna be keeping in mind when we'll be painting a spec map. So I am just saying that it's a spec map, but it is literally a roughness map, and that means wherever we'll add the white, we are gonna get more roughness, and wherever we'll add black, we are gonna get more shininess. In this case, we are just going to be making it black so that we can actually get the 100% shininess around the eyeball area. So you basically get the idea now, right? Even though I am just saying it's spec map, and that's what I've named it as well, but it is actually a roughness map. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And you can see right now the roughness is a little bit more than what we want, so we kind of need to decrease that. And yeah, let's actually just create the map now with the color attribute, obviously. So obviously we are going to be naming it spec map, and I think for the color we can go for something that we already have. And by that I meant to say the roughness. Okay, so first thing first, we are not going to we are not going to we are not going for specular. All right, that's why the zero point 0.5 value, we are not going to be choosing that. We are going for roughness. So right now the roughness is at 0.25, right? You can see roughness is at 0.25. We are going to be putting that over here, and whatever we'll paint with white is going to be more rougher, and whatever we'll paint with black is going to be less rougher. So if you think about it, whatever we'll paint with the value that is above 0.25 is going to be rougher, and whatever we'll paint with the less than 0.25 is going to be shinier. So yeah, that's basically what the idea is behind putting the color at 0.25, like the default color at 0.25. So yeah, this is what we are gonna get after this, and now we can actually just start painting. So again, as I've talked about, first thing first, we are gonna be blocking out the paint, and you don't really need something special for this. At least for the block out, we are gonna be doing something really cool. But if you were to look at the face, it actually looks like that he is more rougher than usual. Like the face overall is more rougher than a normal human. So we're gonna have to lower down the roughness a little bit as well. And yeah, let's actually just start painting. So I'm gonna select the brush, and we don't really need any sort of saturation. So I'm just gonna remove the saturation, and the value. It is pretty important to look at the value actually. And yeah, as I talked about, whatever value you are gonna be using for you're gonna be using, which is gonna be less than 0.25, is gonna be shinier. So that should actually give you an idea on how you want like the spec on the face to work. So Yeah, let's actually get started. I have chosen a value that is lower than 0.25, and actually it is black. Is it black? I didn't really looked at the value that I've chosen, but I am most probably gonna be start painting the nose area, the lip area, and stuff like that. And right now we are only blocking out stuff, and also this is pretty forgiving. It's not a base color that you're gonna be able to notice unless you not unless we, yeah, unless you have a really like contrasty area and a really weird map. It could be a bit weird, but it's pretty forgiving, so you can actually just get away with anything. And yeah, as you can see, I'm literally just blocking out the colors first. You don't really need to overcomplicate this part. Just look at your reference and know which part needs to be a little bit rougher or shinier, and yeah, you basically just do that. So as we've talked about, the nose is going to be a little bit shinier. That's why you can see that I have painted it with a little bit darker color. Same's gonna go with the lip. So you can see this is what I'm doing. Again, I am just blocking out the colors, and we can actually blend them as well, which we are gonna be doing in order to create a really nice gradient between them. So yeah, this is basically what we are doing, and the eyelid area is going to be fully black because we need 100% shininess there. Because again, the idea is that there is going to be some water stuff there, and we actually need 100% shininess. So that's why we're gonna be painting it with complete black. All right, so as you can see, even in the reference, by the way, there's going to be gradient. So you can see in the reference that we have really shine part on the eyelid, which touches the eyeball, and then slowly the roughness increases. So we're going to be creating that as well. And in this case, if you really want to, you can just remove all the jitteriness. But yeah, you can actually just paint fine, I think so. Yeah, that's why you can see that even I'm not removing that. Alright, so this is how I've painted it, and now you can actually just start blending. So if I were to just decrease the strength, you can see we can basically just, yeah, you can actually see how we can blend stuff now. So you decrease the strength and then you pick the neighboring color like this, and then you just start blending the colors. So yeah, you just paint it out like this, pick up the neighboring color, paint it out like this, and yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's not really that complicated to blend your colors. So I'm actually just gonna do that in the whole eyelid. All right, so this is what we have, and I've blended it together. You can see. Yeah, I actually showed you that this is pretty forgiving. So this is what we have, and yeah, the blender is lagging. I think I must have saved it or something. So this is what we have up until now. Obviously, there isn't really anything extraordinary that we did, and that's because these maps, they are going to be pretty simple. And yeah, you are gonna see something really really cool in the future, like in this video, but in the future, where I'll be just adding some really nice details. But yeah, this actually does look pretty nice, and yeah, you can see that I'm basically just choosing the texture again because for some reason, okay, not for some reason, because I've I removed that to paint the eyelid area, and now we're gonna be just adding some black on the cheeks. So wherever we want shininess, as I've talked about, it should not be really that complicated. And just try to block out the colors first, because we are gonna be blending them together just like we did with the eyelid area. So this is what we have, and now we can actually just start blending them, I guess, because that's what I'm doing right now. So I am just trying to create a really nice gradient, and just don't you don't really need to overcomplicate. I actually have said it way too many times now, and you can see that I'm basically just choosing a base color and trying to dilute down the colors that I've painted, because I felt like that the nose was getting a little bit too darker. So that's what I've just did, and now I guess we can actually just start adding some details, and you're gonna see one of the coolest way to basically do that. So remember those alpha that we've used, these small little dots one? Well, we are actually gonna be using these now. So if I were to just put this at black, and if I were to start doing something like this, you're gonna get these. So each of these dots, they are gonna be a little bit more shinier. So you're gonna get something really, really cool out of them actually. And we are gonna be doing two coats. The one coat is going to be with the darker color, and the second coat is going to be the brighter color, to even out both of the colors basically. So you can see that I'm choosing this brush, this color actually, and we are just gonna be putting this all over the face. Doesn't really matter if it is shinier, doesn't really matter if it is not shinier or rougher. We're gonna be just putting this on the whole area, and then we are gonna be choosing a brighter color, brighter than 0.25, and then we are gonna be just putting that on the whole face as well, to even out this darker dots that we are creating. So again, wherever we'll have these darker dots, we are gonna get speck there, less roughness there. So yeah, this is just gonna be one of the only detailed part that we're gonna be doing in this video. And as you can see, this video is not really that long, so it doesn't really take that long to create the spec map or roughness map. I should have actually just called it roughness map, but it's okay. That it's an roughness map, so that's more important. And this is basically what I'm gonna be doing for the details. Just put it on the whole face. Don't leave anything, like don't leave an area behind basically. So let's actually just do that, and then we'll be doing the same thing with a little bit brighter color, so that we can actually just even out some stuff. Alright, so we've added the black dots, which means more reflective, less rough dots on the face. And now to counter it out, we are actually just gonna be doing the opposite of it, which means to not remove the dots, but to add some of the brighter ones. So those brighter ones are just going to be brighter than 0.25. Now you can actually just get away with anything, literally. Just make sure that it does look in the render, and in the end your base color actually looks your base color makes more sense, and you can always just adjust that in the in the notes with the color ramp. So yeah, and you're gonna see that actually, am I gonna be adding the brighter dots, by the way, because I am actually just saying it, I'm not really doing that. So let's wait. I think I'm saving and just saying the same stuff in Hindi that I'm saying it to you right now. So yeah, but yeah, this is basically how our spec map is gonna look like. So let's increase the value. You can see that I'm choosing a 0.75 value. So yeah, you can see literally just doing the same thing, and this is to even out our black dots. We don't want to make the skin more shinier. So if we were to just do this, this is basically gonna even out everything, and we're gonna go back, not entirely, it's not going to be 100% correct, but still we are going to even out the things that we did with the black dots, and After that, we can actually just do some test render to see if the map is working or not, and based on that information we can adjust the colors. For example, removing this texture from the brush and doing some bigger stroke in order to adjust the overall color. And yeah, that's basically what we can do. All right, so this is what we have, and I've added the white dots as well. So now we can actually just use this into our node setup. Yes, I literally forgot the word node, but it's okay. So now we can actually just duplicate the attribute, and this is actually one of the weird thing. You have to type in the exact like words by letter in order for it to work. Blender should have actually just given option to choose from the color attributes that we are using. But let's actually just do a test render to see. So yeah, let's see how it would look. I really hope that it actually looks nice. So I'm gonna be putting this into a different slot so that we can actually just compare as well. And again, it is pretty simple. The first thing, the easier thing and the faster thing would be to just adjust it with the color ramp. And if you think that you cannot really make it look better with the color ramp, you always have the option to go back into the paint mode and basically adjust the color. So right now this is what we have. And remember, we had it a little bit rougher, like the roughness was at 0.25. So this was let's let it render though. But yeah, you can see that we've increased the shininess a little bit, like on the nose and on the lips. You can definitely see that. So that's actually pretty good. And yeah, if you really want to, you can actually adjust some stuff. For example, just putting something in between, and for example, something like color ramp or math node. Totally up to you. However you actually like to do it. So this was before, and this is after. We've definitely did something here. So if you were to just look at the nose, this is rougher, and this is shinier. So yeah, that's what we did. It might not be super apparent, but I've shown you the process. And if you feel like that your character does have a little bit more shinier skin, that you are obviously welcome to add more black, add more darker values, as you can see. So that's pretty cool. We've added the shininess on the eyelid. We've basically did everything, and this is how the spec map is gonna look like. I know it's not one of the most fancy spec map, but it does work. And wherever you feel like you know wherever you feel like you actually need more shininess, you just add in the base color, and after that you basically just do this two coating kind of a thing. So that's, I think, is how you would create a spec map. And we are actually getting the shininess on the eyelid area as well, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, this is pretty much it. I don't think that I really need to say anything now. So yeah, I'll actually just go, and if you think that you want to change something, just do it. So yeah, bye bye. All right, so in this video we're gonna be baking the maps, and you might be thinking that we still need to do the micro displacement map. Well, I know the sequence is a little bit weird, but the thing is the file is getting a little bit heavy, and we also need to do the clothes and the hairs. So we obviously cannot do that in this particular file, and in order to obviously render it out, we're gonna have to bake it. You obviously don't need to. If it is working fine in your PC, then you can actually just get away with it. But yeah, let's actually just do it. So I am gonna be adding an image, and if you do know how to bake, I think it should not be really that complicated. I'm gonna be naming it. I think we're gonna be doing the base color first. Yeah, and this is going to be an 8K map. All right, so that we can actually capture all the details that we have in the paint. So this is actually pretty simple. We're gonna have to select our mesh, and we're gonna have to select our image. And first thing first, you're gonna have to Control Shift click on your color, because base color is what we are painting. So if I were to just do that, Control Shift click, it is gonna be put it into the output node as emission node. So Blender is gonna think that we are emitting this. So now we're gonna be selecting our mesh and the image texture, and because we have put our base color into the output directly, it is gonna behave like emission. By the way, you can actually look down your sample counts, because you don't really need that much to bake. The device is GPU, so that it would be a little bit faster to bake, right? If your CPU is faster, then try with CPU. And now we're gonna go to bake type, and the output is going to be image. We don't wanna put the output as attribute, color attribute, so put it at image, and the bake type is emit. So I think we have everything here. So just give a save, obviously give a save, because Blender can crash while baking. So yeah, just so that you could be safe. You don't want to lose any of the work that you did previously. So just give a save basically, and then we can actually just bake it. So now that our file have been saved, we're gonna try and bake, and you can see that Blender have crashed, and that's why I had to put an emission node in between. So the reason that you are seeing that the node setup is a little bit different is because Blender must have crashed and I had to put the emission node. So this is actually just me trying whether this baking thing is gonna work or not. So that's why you are seeing this emission node. So instead of just directly putting in the attribute node into the output node, I am gonna put an emission node in between, and that it actually won't crash this time. So first thing first, you can see that I have actually baked all the maps. Alright, so I guess this worked. You can see that we baked all the maps. So this is the roughness map, and you can see that I've actually named it correctly this time. Instead of spec map, I've named it roughness map, because let's just be honest, that's what this map actually is. And you don't really need too much resolution for this roughness map, so you can just get away with 2K or anything. But with the base color, you can see that if you were to, by the way, I've rendered it out, and you can see no difference. So the one is, the one is with the map that I baked, and the one is without the map, basically the color attribute, and you cannot really see any difference, which means that our color, the base color, actually have been baked nicely, and we don't really need to do anything else. So yeah, I didn't really show you the baking, like the bar, like the process, but I've shown you the method. So you just have to click on the bake, and it actually would work for you. So yeah, this was kind of a mini tutorial or a mini video, and we baked all the map basically, and now we can actually just do the micro displacement map as well. So yeah, there isn't really anything else in this video, so I am just gonna say bye bye, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so this is actually going to be one of the most important map. Obviously not as important as base color, but still. So we are going to be painting the micro displacement strength map, right? And this map, first thing first, as you can see that I've basically baked everything, and instead of color attribute, I am actually using an image texture. So yeah, that's what it is, and I can literally decimate the mesh right now, and yeah, the image texture would still work, and the skin would actually look fine, but obviously I'm not gonna do that because again, it's not a background character or anything. But yeah, we are actually just gonna be now you know, creating an as I've said, micro displacement strength map, and in this case we don't really need high resolution, so a 1K would actually work just fine. And also one thing that you want to do, you basically want to put that through a multiply, and the idea is pretty simple actually. When we put the micro displacement map into the multiply factor, wherever we'll paint with black is going to be less strengthened version. If you get the idea, I really hope that you basically get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, now we can actually roll down the subdivision as well. And if you ask me, this is not even the version that we were painting on. This is like the version, the mesh version is the one with the subdivision. So we can actually just lower it down and play around with the micro displacement. So this is what we have. We obviously don't want this over here because this part is going to be shiny. As you know, micro displacement also contributes towards the roughness of our mesh. So the more strength, the rougher is going to be the skin. The less strength, the shinier the skin would be. So you also need to just keep that in mind. Wherever you want more shininess, you want the micro displacement strength to be low, which means you want to paint that in black so that you get more shininess. So I really hope that actually makes sense to you. And because we can actually lower down the subdivision, we're gonna be just directly painting onto an image so that we don't have to do the baking and stuff. Even though you can just pretty much that like in the color attribute as well. But because we don't have color attribute in this mesh, we are just gonna be using the image texture. So first thing first, let's just do the black stuff because we know this part of the area is not gonna have any sort of like displacement. So we are actually just gonna be painting it with black. These are some of the easier stuff. We know that this part is not gonna have it. So I think it's better to just paint it out, you know. And if you want to, you can paint in 2D view as well. But in this case, I'm actually increasing the size of the image from 1K to 4K because I think the resolution that we were painting with was a little bit too low. So I think it's best to increase the resolution a little bit. And you can see that it is working pretty smoothly. So I don't really see a negative side to it. I mean, more resolution is always fine, right? And yeah, you can see that I'm literally painting it with black. It's not 100% black. As you can see that I am actually using the pen pressure, and you can definitely see some darker and a little bit lighter spots in the area that I've painted. So it's not 100% black, but still the idea is to, paint it with black so that I can actually remove all the micro displacement from this area. So obviously the better way to look at the color would be to just go into the flat view, but you cannot really identify the eye, like where the eyes are in the flat view, right? So it's better to just do a stroke in this solid view, and after you've done painting a little bit, you actually just go to the flat view and basically do all of your blending and stuff. Alright, so I also need a little bit of less micro displacement on lips, for example, maybe at 0.25 strength. So that's why I'm actually using a 0.25 strength brush, and I am just doing a stroke. Now remember, the more you overlap your strokes, it's no longer going to be 0.25. So I mean, wait, no, it actually is going to be 0.25 because that's the color that we are choosing. So yeah, you can actually just do that, and you've just seen the reason that I don't really like to use the texture painting in the image, like that in the texture painting mode of Blender, because this creates this artifact that I really hate. And it's better to just go into the sculpt mode, with the multi-resolution applied. And that is like the best thing that you can do in Blender in terms of texture painting. And if you have ZBrush, you can literally just do the painting stuff in ZBrush as well, because ZBrush does allow the subdivisions and also painting in the subdivisions as well. So this is something that I feel like Blender should allow, Blender should implement as well. But it's okay. I can just pretty easily blend in and stuff and fix all the area. But it does take a little bit time, some extra efforts to fix all of this stuff, which is, I feel like, just unnecessary thing. I mean, Blender devs at this point should, fix this particular problem, because you cannot get the same problem in the sculpt mode when you are painting. So that means they already have figured out a way to get rid of this problem. As you can see, I've created such an hard line on the eye bag area, which is just so annoying to fix. and it just increases time. So I would recommend you to not basically paint in an image itself, like directly into an image. Just paint on a color attribute and bake this map as well. You can always just change the strength with the color ramp. So I feel like that is actually the better way of painting. The texture paint mode, it really sucks. I think, it have more artifacts to fix than painting to do. So I never really enjoy painting in this mode. So yeah, so now you can see we're gonna have to fix and blend all of this stuff. So at least the painting is similar to what we have in the sculpt mode or the vertex paint mode as well. It's not different to it. So yeah, you can just do that. And you can see we're gonna have to go into the 2D view to basically fix all the stuff. For example, we wanna make sure that the strength of the micro displacement is not more inside the mouth. So we actually basically have to do that, and you can see it actually fixed it in the corner part as well. So we're gonna have to do the same thing in this area, and in this area the color is totally black. So yeah, we should not have any micro displacement over here. Alright, at least the good thing is the painting is pretty similar. I don't know why. Actually it's a good thing that I'm doing this in this particular mode, the texture paint mode, so that you can see the downside of painting in this particular mode. You have to be super careful that you don't accidentally paint the different area, which is I don't really like it. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe there is a way to fix this particular problem with some settings or anything, but yeah, I don't really find this particular mode, like the texture paint mode, as good as the paint mode that we have in the sculpt mode basically. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of okay, but still I would never recommend it if I'm being honest. So now we are actually just gonna be saving the file. We don't even have to bake it. That is like the only benefit that you might get with this mode, that you can actually just directly save up the image. You don't have to bake or anything, and then you can just test it out. But still, if you are painting for like an R example, or maybe let's just say that you are doing base color or something, I think it's just better to... Okay, let's just look at it first. So you can see that we don't really have anything in terms of micro displacement on the lips, and even on the nose the strength is a little bit low. I really hope that you can tell the difference, by the way, because yeah, now you can definitely see. So on the nose we have less strength, and you can definitely see it over here, by the way. So in simple words, that's basically what the micro displacement strength map actually do. You don't really need to overcomplicate anything, and yeah, that's basically what the map does. And now all we need to do is to just do some trial and error. For example, if you feel like that in some areas the strength is a little bit less, you can actually just change that. And in this case, what I'm doing, I am actually just multiplying the kajal mask, the mascara mask, basically the paint mask. I'm multiplying it so that I won't actually get any sort of like the micro displacement wherever he have painted his eyes. So this is something that I'm trying, and you can see that we have actually removed that, and it is on the skin now. So yeah, that's basically what the idea is, because again, the theory is if he were to paint something on top of the skin, he is most probably gonna be getting rid of all the micro displacement actually, because paint is gonna overtake that. And that's why you can see that I did that. Obviously you're not gonna be able to tell this in a render from this much apart. You gotta have to go a little bit closer, but with the spec you can definitely tell. And if I were to just open up the references, you're gonna be able to see that this spec is not really that shiny. Like, we can actually add a little bit of roughness over here. So if you If you are comfortable with the nodes in Blender, I think it should be pretty easy for you. But I'll actually tell you what you can do. So you can actually just put this same mask into the mix color factor, and now whatever you put, uh, I think in the A slot, yeah, whatever you put in the A slot is going to be the roughness of your paint, the eye bag paint. So now you can see we have 0.5 roughness, and if I were to put this to black, it is gonna get shiny, and if I were to put this at white, it is gonna be super rough. So now you have to play with the strength now to figure out which strength is working for this particular material. Obviously we still have not added a bump, like we are not using multi-resolution modifier, so we are looking at the material on a flat surface, like we don't have any sort of what do you say, like any sort of details. But yeah, you can see that I'm decreasing the multiply section on the mask area, so that I can actually get a little bit of micro displacement over here as well. And let's see how it would look. Yeah, you can see that we are getting just a tiny bit of micro displacement, and this is just helping breaking up the skin a little bit. So I think I'm liking it, I think I'm gonna keep it. And if you really want to, you can do some test renders. Obviously I think it's better to go a little bit closer to the eye and do some test renders actually. So that's actually, I think, a better way to do it. Right now I'm a little bit far behind, like I'm a little bit, how do you say it, I'm a little bit far from the eye. But the way that I'm judging is pretty simple actually. I'm judging on based on, yeah, roughness. So I'm trying to match the roughness. You can see this roughness that we have right now is much more closer to the reference. So that's how I actually am able to judge whether the micro displacement is enough or not. So yeah, you can just do that by judging the roughness, and that's pretty much it actually. You can see that the memory is also lowered down, so that's pretty good. The memory was a little bit too much previously, so baking the maps actually have lowered that down. And yeah, that's basically it for this video as well. Yeah, I'll just see in the next one. Alright, so we are actually done with the painting of the face, but yeah, the eyeballs are still left, so it obviously have to be a different video, because it does have a little bit of that stuff in it that you can actually could not have included it into, the painting video of the face. So I think it actually makes sense that we have a different video. So now we have this, and let's just talk about that. So we are going to be painting both of the stuff, the iris and the eyeball. The iris part is going to be super simple, by the way. But before we do any of that, we kind of have to create a shader. Yeah, right. So basically, I think I've already shown you this when we were doing the eyeball modeling, but let me just show it to you again, I guess. Or maybe not. Yeah, you can see this is basically the topology. I don't know why I'm showing it, because I've already shown you that when we were modeling. But as you can see that we are on the 4th multi-resolution modifier, which is a bit too overkill. But again, the idea is to apply the multi-resolution modifier because we are going to be using the same techniques for the painting that we've used for the painting of the face. So first thing first, you can see we have this gradient and stuff. I think I've already shown it to you, but you have a gradient texture that you basically press Ctrl T on if you have the node angular add-on enable, obviously. And then you're gonna have this mapping node, which you can actually just do some rotation and make sure that your gradient is exactly where the pupil separates from the eyeball. So after you are done with that, and you basically just need to adjust a little bit of what do you say it, color ramp. But yeah, before I do that, let me show you. So obviously, how would you know like what's the perfect angle? Basically, you must have rotated it 2.5 degree, right? And remember we did that when we added the eyeball. You basically just add that to the y-axis. So if you were to just do that, if I were to show it to you, you can see we've rotated it on the z-axis at 2.5 degree. So in order to compensate for that, we are going to be adding that on the y-axis, and you can see that it actually works. So That's how we would be fixing this problem. Obviously, you can have different ways of doing the same thing, but this is, I think, works really well for me. So that's what I'm actually showing it to you. So now it is going into a mix shader. The one shader is actually just full on transmission without any roughness, which is the pupil shader. And the second shader is going to be our eyeball shader. So eyeball shader is basically the same shader that we used for the skin, so that it would have same subsurface scattering values. And if you were to just put it into the factor, we should have our eyeball. Now this is what we have. Obviously it's not what we were looking for. So now all we need to do is to adjust the contrast, right? And in order to basically do anything on the shader, I really like to just remove all the subsurface scattering so that the rendering would be a little bit faster. I just enable the subsurface scattering in the end, or when I have to test the skin shader actually. So we're gonna have to just increase, or in this case obviously we're gonna have to increase the contrast, and this is what we are getting. So yeah, this is basically what we have. And this is all right. I was actually showing you the shader of the iris, but we don't really need to think about that right now. Just make sure that it does not go past the iris mesh, because the iris mesh is not really that huge behind the eyeball. Obviously you'll never be in the situation where you have to do that. And even if you do have to do that, you can actually just extend the border area of the iris. But this is what we have right now. So where we have the apex of the curve, we kind of have the pupil in that area. So I think it's okay. Or maybe we can actually adjust a little bit of color ramp. But I think right now it actually looks okay. And now we have two shader, one for the pupil and one for the eyeball, which means whatever we'll put in the base color of the principal BSDF that is below is going to be the color of our eyeball. And now we have this shader. You can see this is what we have. Well, you don't really need super complicated painting on this. As you can see that I have already painted it, and I'm not really going to be showing you the process actually. So what I've did, I've lowered down, actually I brighten it up. Now that I remember it, I think I brighten it up, or maybe not. I don't really remember what I did. It's a long time ago since I've recorded it. But yeah, you're gonna be using the weight to the highest, and roughness is going to be the one as well. We don't want any specular. So it is going to be pure rough. You can see that the specular is at 0.5, but roughness is at maximum. So make sure that you do that. We don't want any speck from this particular mesh, right? Remember that whatever speck we're going to have, we're going to be having it from the eyeball itself. So that's what is more important. So yeah, let's actually just give it a save. And now we are on to the part where we can actually just apply the multi-resolution modifier. So before we do that, you can see this is what we have. We have some red on the corner of the eye. This is actually pretty important to look at the references actually. So you can see we have more reds on the corner of the eye. And you can see this is also the area where the veins are coming from. So it's kind of like they are growing from the corner and they are going towards the middle of the eyeball. So we're going to be keeping that in mind as well. When we'll be painting all the veins and stuff, we're going to make it look like that they're coming out of the corner and they're going towards the middle of the pupil basically. So yeah, we're just going to have to keep that in mind. And you can see it's not 100% white. It might look like it, but it's not. And the inner corner is definitely a little bit more redder than the outer corner. So we also need to keep that in mind. And we're gonna have to add the yellows and the blues as well that you have in the eyeball color. But don't you worry, we're gonna be seeing that in this video. So I guess it's gonna be okay. Now this is what we have. If you actually want to, we can remove the back part of the eyeball, by the way, just in case if the polygon count is a little bit too higher, because it's in portrait first thing first. And even if it is an animation, you won't be able to see the back part of the eyeball unless you are making the likeness of Glenn from The Walking Dead. maybe in that case you might be able to see the back part of the eyeball, but I think in most cases you won't. And this is the resolution that we have. I think it should be good enough. We are not really gonna go super close to the eyeball anyway, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. And let's just go into the sculpt mode. But as you can see, the scale is not uniform. You have seen the warning. I obviously just ignored it, but yeah, don't do that. And you can see the brush is behaving weirdly. It's literally yeah, you can see that I've actually just noticed that the brush is behaving weirdly. And let's just apply the scale, and now it should be okay. So if I were to just do that, and yeah, we are getting this. So by the way, this is alpha that I'm using. This alpha is literally from Photoshop. Yeah, so this is actually from Photoshop. In this case, I don't think that I'm gonna be using it, by the way. But just in case if you wanted to know, I've literally just exported the alpha from the Photoshop. But yeah, now let's just talk about the process. So I am gonna be painting the whole eyeball red first. And it might feel a little bit weird, like you can say, why would you wanna go whole red? Well, first thing first, we wanna make sure that the tone of the red is correct. That is like the first priority. So basically the similar kind of how do you say it, similar kind of workflow, where we want to make sure that the colors are correct first, and then we can actually just yeah then we can actually just go on and start doing the actual painting process. If you think about it, even in real life you make sure that the colors are correct, right? So this is what we have. And by the way, adding the cloud texture with the paintbrush, actually I've given so much details, so I really like that, by the way. But yeah, in this case I guess I'm not really figuring out the color first. I am actually just going straight into the color, and I think it's okay, it would save your time and my time. So you can see that adding the reds and then removing the reds have already given us so much more details. That's like the first thing that you must be noticing, that this removing the red actually is really cool. You can see all the details that we are already getting, and we actually have not done anything super detailed. Like we haven't really given too much time, and we are still getting this much amount of details. But now we can just try something out. So we can actually just change the color. In this case I'm going a little bit yellowish, so don't go too bright with this color. Again, this is just something, I mean, it's in personal experience, you can say. The brighter color doesn't really work that well. And we also need to tone down the whites. Remember, we don't want this to be super white, and you're gonna see that actually in the renders. And I remember it correctly, even in the final file I've used the nodes to tone down the whites separately. But I am actually gonna be showing it to you. I do that behind the scene, I remember that. So yeah, now you can see that I've added a little bit of yellow. Now again, I'm just doing the yellow on all the eyeball. Like I'm not even looking at the reference, because that's just how it is. And now we have the vein brushes already saved, right? Because we did the vein for the skin. Now we are just gonna be using the same veins, and just gonna be putting the veins in the similar areas. Now I'm not really trying to match how the veins are looking. I'm just trying to match where the veins are. So you don't really need to be super accurate with them. They are pretty forgiving actually. And yeah, just make sure that the color of the veins are right. So I think I remember it correctly, but veins, they are gonna be, yeah, I think I'm gonna do them in two goes. I think the first one kinda sucked, so I had to do them again, but it's okay, it's part of the process. So now the idea is to put some small little veins near the area where the eyeball actually meets the pupil. And yeah, I think the resolution is a little bit low, so I'm just gonna divide it one more time. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl 1, or maybe just add the modifier manually, because I feel like I was not really able to paint the veins, like the smaller veins. It was pixelating a little bit too much. So yeah, I pressed Control 1 and now we can just apply the modifier. Alright, so now I think we should have enough resolution to paint small little details, and if still we won't be able to paint it, I don't think I'm actually gonna be increasing the resolution more, because it's not going to be super close to the camera, so we don't really need to spend that much time on it. We know that it's an portrait, and we are not gonna give enough pixels to the eyes, especially to the veins, right? There aren't going to be enough pixels for these particular details, so you don't really need to spend that much amount of time. Alright, so these small little veins that you are seeing, they kind of look weird, and I am actually gonna be painting over some colors. I'm gonna be adding some colors on top of these to remove some of these, because they didn't really look that good. As I've said that we're gonna be doing the veins 2 times, but it's okay. It is always trial and error. So that's what I'm doing right now. Just adding a whole bunch of veins. The idea was to, if we were to remove these veins and just have a little bit of them stays, then we can actually get some really nice details, but that didn't really work. And you're gonna see that actually if I were to start painting them out, the idea was, if I were to just start painting them out, it's gonna look like that they're underneath the skin of the eyeball. That was the plan actually, but it didn't really work that nicely, and you're gonna see that. So I'm literally just removing them, basically not removing them entirely, but trying to make their strength, their intensity a little bit low. So that's what I'm doing. You can see that I literally removed all the veins, but it's okay. It's again trial and error, so I don't really mind. And yeah, we've literally just removed everything. I didn't really plan to do that, but yeah, that's just how it is. So in this case, we actually have not test rendered anything yet, so I guess it's a really good time when we do it. So yeah, let's actually just do that. I think I am gonna be adding a mirror modifier, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I can actually just duplicate the eye, I don't know. Okay, first thing first, let's just put the color attribute node on the shader, so that we can actually see what we are painting. So it's pretty simple. It's just gonna go into the base color. You don't even have to change anything. So let's just add the color attribute, and yeah, let's just put it over here, and this is what we have. So again, we're gonna be adding the mirror modifier, so that we can actually just we don't have to paint him twice, basically. Alright, so after the mirror modifier have been added, this is the render, and how good the eyes are already looking, but you can see it is a little bit too white. This is like the only concern that I have, that it's looking way too bright. Like yeah, you can actually just compare him with the reference. In the reference, it does have some darker tones, this darker outline, by the way, which we are missing. And like the eyeball itself is not that bright. In our case, the eyeball is pretty bright. I would really like to lower the brightness down, and that's something that I feel like we definitely need to do. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Alright, I guess the first thing, maybe I didn't really realize that I'm gonna be changing it. I think the eyeball, it might took a little bit big in the render. So like, you obviously have two options. You can just adjust the mask of the pupil, and the second option would be to just scale down the eyeball. In this case, obviously, I have chosen the option number 2, and now I'm just gonna be sculpting the eyeball's shape in order for it to fit the eye socket. Now, if I can remember it correctly, I think I've said it in the starting of the course that we're gonna be doing that. And if you think about it, the eyeball itself is also not a spherical object. It's not exactly spherical. It does have a little bit of like it's not sphere, basically. The shape is not sphere, and it's totally fine to cheat, I guess. So that's what we're gonna be doing. You can definitely see like the pupil size of is way too much actually. So we obviously had to scale it down. So yeah, this is the new one, and I'm definitely liking it a little bit more. So yeah, this is definitely a little bit better, I think, and I'm really liking it actually. So that's good, you know. Now we can adjust the rotation of it a little bit. If you let's just compare by the way. So this is what we have after scaling down the eyeball. I think it's looking better now. So now we can actually just continue the painting, or maybe I'm just gonna be adjusting the rotation of it a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you can see that I'm going on to the side view, and I'm gonna be just rotating in towards, like rotating it down basically. So I'm literally just seeing the same thing that my past self was seeing, and that's good. That's really good. Alright, so we've also adjusted the eyelid a little bit, and I think it's looking a little bit better now. So that's actually pretty nice as well. I think this is something that I've already talked about in the beginning of the course, that we are gonna be changing the shape of the eyeball and stuff. So I think this should not be like it should not be a surprise for you. Also, if it actually is making it look better, I mean, why not, right? It's not like we wanna go super accurate to the real world. I mean, if you really want to, you can even animate this. If you can rig it properly and stuff, you should be able to animate this as well. But yeah, this is what we have, and now we have the pupil. You can scale it down as well, by the way, and you can increase the contrast. You can, by the way, if you were to look at the pupil, it I think is looking pretty decently, like the color are pretty good. We just need to increase a little bit of contrast so that we can get those brighter and a little bit darker spots. So yeah, but now let's actually just paint on the eyeball, and I am just gonna be hiding the carancula. So let's just do that. Oh yeah, the carancula, you can see how it is looking. I think it is looking pretty decent, so we don't really need to change anything about that. It is, I think, the gradient that we've added, which is making the left part of the carancula transparent, is working really, really nice. So that's good. Now we can just continue working on the eyeball with that much amount of torque. So yeah, let's actually just try and do that. By the way, if you want to, you can add this black paint right now, but I don't think I'm actually gonna do that. We are just gonna be painting the normal stuff, and that stuff would be to lower down the value of the color of the eyeball. Basically, the eyeball is way too bright right now. So you can see that I basically just painted an coat, if you can say it like this, and I am just doing it again with the blue color. So previously I've added the yellow tone, and now I'm adding the blue color. Both of these color, you can actually just see those in the eyeball if you were to look at enough references. So without really looking at the reference, I'm just adding that. And again, the idea is to lower down the value. And yeah, you can see how bright it is. I mean, it is super bright. So let's see how it would look now. Alright, so we've definitely lowered down the brightness, and it is looking way natural now. I think it is definitely an improvement. You can see. This means that we are actually going into the right direction. Now we can just continue painting. Alright, so now I've just added some veins, and you must have realized that I was changing the color and also the strength of some of those veins so that they don't look similar to each other, and we can have some variation, just like I'm doing right now. So this is also something that you can do in order to add more variation. And some of the veins are bigger, and some of them are smaller. So yeah, you just need to make sure that you do that, and they are gonna look pretty good. But yeah, you definitely won't be able to see that in this particular render, because it is still again a decent amount of far that you can see the veins. So we're gonna have to go closer, but I think it's looking good, so we can continue painting. Alright, so you can see that I've lowered down the value a little bit more, and again, this is just me not satisfied with the brightness of the eye. So I think that's what I've did, just trying to figure out the color first. But in this case, it should not be really that complicated. Actually, I think the color, it's pretty easy to figure out. You just need to lower down the value with darker yellow and the bluish tone, and you should be good to go. But yeah, now you can see that I've actually adjusted the camera and made it go a little bit closer to the eyeball so that we can see the details that we are painting. Also, we can see the skin. Yeah, I think the skin is looking pretty good. It's not super accurate to the real world, but I think it's doing the job. So yeah, yeah, you can see this is what we are getting. We are definitely getting the veins and stuff, and we are also getting that darker area around the pupil, which is something that we actually have not added, but it's still, we are still getting that. And we are getting this weird crack kind of a thing. I think it's just the sample thing. If we were to increase the sample in the test render, it would definitely look a little bit better. So yeah, I don't think it's really that problematic. And if I were to go to my browser and search for Polyhaven, I think what we can do, we can actually do something for our paint on the eye bag. So I'm just gonna say it mascara from now on, so that we will be both on the same page. I think you do know what mascara is, right? So the idea is to add some bump there, and that's why you can see that I'm actually adding a texture from Polyhaven, and I've literally just searched for rook, I think, and that's what I got. So I'm just gonna be using the displacement or normal map now, and we should be able to get something decent. By the way, you can actually get free models from here, so that's pretty cool. We are obviously not gonna be using any of these, but yeah, you can get a whole lot of models for free, so that's pretty cool. You can actually even use them for commercial purposes. But this is the file, and I'm just going to be copying the material, and let's just paste the material over here. By the way, you need to have the copy add-on enabled in order to do that. But in this case, we don't actually need every single node. We only need the displacement node or the normal node. We don't really need anything else. Oh yeah, also the color, because I want some variation in the color as well. So we are just going to be pasting them over here. And yeah, let's actually just do that. And you can, if you want to, remove the subsurface for now in order to see how well it is working. So let's just paste it first. So these are the nodes that we have. We have a color node that we can actually use to give some variation in the color. If I'm being honest, you don't really need the color node. I mean, it is totally up to you. I've still used it. So let's see how it would look. Now, first thing first, you can see that I've actually just changed the output so that it would be a little bit cleaner. And yeah, let's just see how our wait, am I even gonna change anything? Let's just change anything. Okay, I might be saying that we're gonna do this and that, but I'll tell you, we're gonna be multiplying or adding the color with the base color, so I think it should not be that complicated. But yeah, the main node that we have to use is the displacement. But first thing first, let's see what we are doing. So I think we are gonna be doing something with the colors first. I could have just duplicated the mix node, but it's okay. So let's see. we're gonna be putting this into the factor, the mask, so that we don't use this on the whole area. We don't want this to go into the whole area. So let's just do this, and this is what we have. So whatever color I put in this particular socket, it's gonna get replaced, right? For example, this rock texture. So now we have this, right? And we need to definitely lower down the scale so that we can actually get more small, I mean we can get more details, small little details, right? So this is what we have, and we're gonna have to make it a little bit black because that's what the color of mascara is. We cannot just let it be an what do you say, like we cannot just let it be in color, not in color but in rock texture basically. So you can see that I am just using a color ramp in the factor, and I'm increasing the value of the black so that we can actually see more black in the color. I really hope that this node setup actually makes sense. So now we have this, we can play with the contrast of it a little bit so that we can get a little bit more contrast in the details. So I'm just increasing it, and you can see that we are getting more contrast in the color, and that's what the idea is behind the base. So we can play around with the scale. If you feel like that the scale is a little bit too low, you can actually just change that. Also don't increase contrast too much because some details could be washed away because of that, and we don't want that. So I think for the color this should actually be okay. We don't really need to do anything else for the color. I'll just push it back to make some room, and now we can just play with the displacement and the normal, because remember these are the nodes that we actually wanted to use in order to break up the skin surface a little bit more. So yeah, let's actually just use that. I think I can just use it in the displacement. Yeah, as you can see, I'm literally just putting into the displacement, and now we can just put the mask into the factor so that we only influence the mascara part and not the whole face. And let's just put this into the first slot. Now this is, yeah, it's kind of like this, and if we were to just look at it through principal BSDF, this is what we are gonna get, and it's not gonna work. The reason it's not gonna work is because I don't actually remember it. Why it's not gonna work? Yeah, okay. I think the scaling was a little bit too big. I think that was the reason. And we're gonna have to lower down the scale of it. So this is, I think, something that we need to do. And also you can see that we are at the bump, and we are not truly displacing the geometry. We are only using the bump. That's why it's not really working as nicely. So I've decided to use it as a normal map. Also the scale, remember the scale was way too low. Like I put the strength I think at 0.00001% or something. That's why the scale was way too low, and you won't be able to see any of the details. So now let's just do the same thing, but instead of displacement we are going to be using the normal map, and we are literally doing it in the opposite, because remember the mascara was black. So yeah, we have to flip the mask. So let's just invert it, and it should be okay. Yeah, you can see it is working now. So it's good, but the strength is definitely a little bit too much. So first thing first, I think the size of it is a bit too much as well. So let's just decrease the size by increasing the number. Blender does work in weird ways, but you get the idea. So now we need to decrease the strength. We can do that by controlling the input of the strength. So we can just do that with the color ramp, and let's just put the white a little bit lower, and yeah, you can see that we are kind of playing around with the strength. So I think this is gonna work fine. You know, we've broken up the skin a little bit too more, so I think it is kind of looking like paint now. It's not like skin, you know, the skin that we've sculpted. So that's good. We don't wanted it to look like an sculpted skin. We actually wanted something that comes from a mascara maybe. Obviously we should have looked at close-up of mascara and created something similar, but I think it's working, so I don't really need to, you know, do anything complicated. Alright, so now we are looking at the color, and I felt like that the color was a little bit too bright. So I've just increased the contrast and made the color a little bit more darker. And these skin details that we are getting, not the skin details, but the surface details that we are getting is, I think, pretty awesome. So now if you want to, you can actually just use the same setup with the roughness map as well. But I don't think that you really need to do it. This is the node setup. I know it's a bit messy. It would not have been messy if we were not doing the mascara part, but it actually is because we are doing the mascara part. But again, we are gonna be just doing the same thing, putting this into the first slot, and the mask is gonna go into the effector. So we should be able to now use the same map for the roughness, and this is the roughness that we are getting. Obviously, it's way too rough. I don't want this to be that rough. So again, we now need to use the color ramp node in order to actually adjust the roughness. And the reason I really like to use the color ramp is because I'm more of an visual guy. I don't really care about the numbers, whether I've decreased the roughness from 0.5 or 0.2. I actually look at the render and see whether it is working or not. So yeah, I kind of like to see that. Okay, so this is the render, and this is definitely looking way better. I think the breakup on the mascara part that we've added is definitely looking really good, and we can actually see the iris part as well. So it's really nice as well. By the way, we're gonna have to set up something for for the pupil material, because you usually have water there, and that basically distort the reflection of it a little bit. You cannot really see that in the reference, but maybe not in this guy, but you usually do have that. So if I were to look at this over here, wherever we have veins, we kind of have bumps, right? And those bumps, they are actually distorting like the reflections, because they are coming out, they're popping out, right? The veins are popping out. That's why the reflections are also distorting. But in our case, that's not the case, because the surface of the eyeball is still flat, right? Because we actually have not added any bump yet. So the next step would be to actually set up a decent shader. All right. Now, yeah, also something that you can do, you can actually add this darker ring kind of a thing around the pupil area. So totally up to you if you want to add it. I think it's looking okay. You don't even need to do that, by the way. But again, the idea is to actually just use this as a bump node. That's why you can see that I literally just put this into the normal, and now we're gonna be just putting this into a bump node, like through the bump node, and it is gonna be into the bump. So this is the bump that we are getting. Let's just invert it and decrease the strength. By the way, I think Blender Guru said that decreasing the distance is a little bit more accurate. But if it is working for you, you can actually decrease the strength as well. Totally up to you. Maybe he is correct, and decreasing the distance is the right way of doing things. So yeah, totally up to you. If you think, whatever is working for you, obviously you can actually just go for it. So let's just decrease the strength, and I am in the material viewport because the rendering was a little bit too noisy. So I think doing this into the render viewport, in the material viewport actually made more sense. And now you can see that we are getting the bump. So that's pretty cool. If you want to, you can decrease the strength of it a little bit though, because I think the strength of the veins are a little bit too much. But yeah, I think it is working pretty okay. I don't think that it's bad or anything. So that's good. If you want to, by the way, you can actually just paint the pupil area as well, and literally use the same the same bump thing into the pupil node as well. So that is also another way of adding some bump. For examples, if we were to look at this mask, we actually can just, okay, wait, am I gonna be adding that darker ring kind of a thing? Yeah, I think I'm adding the darker ring that we can see around the pupil. Do I add that? I don't even remember if I add that. Yeah, I think I'm adding that. You can see right over here. Yeah, we are creating this ring. Okay, I literally forgotten that we actually add this. So that's nice. We're gonna have to. I really hope that I don't need to explain what I've just did. So I've duplicated the color ramp and then I've added a flag and put that flag onto the left part and then made that white. I mean, I don't know if I need to even explain that. Now we're gonna be just multiplying it actually so that we can get the black part of the color only. And yeah, you can see that we are getting this ring on the edge, and you can adjust your color ramp nodes. For example, you can add another one, make it a little bit darker, and your ring it would get a little bit broader. Basically, it is looking gray right now because the multiply value is at 0.5. That's why you are getting the gray thing. If you were to increase it, yeah, you can see the more you increase it, the blacker you are going to get. So yeah, I think I've just removed that, and with this particular flag you can adjust the radius of the black part. So that way you can actually add the black ring around it. And I don't know, I don't really remember it whether I've added it or not. I think I've did. Yeah, it is coming a little bit, but yeah, you can see the skin. At least the skin is looking pretty nice, right? I really hope that it does look good to you as well, because otherwise, what would be the point of creating this course, you know? So yeah, this is actually the node setup, and we have this going on over here. I don't even remember which node I'm talking about. I think this is the skin setup. So this is the node, and instead of the normal map, I've end up using the bump node. Because normal was giving a little bit weird result, I think, or I don't even remember why I switched the normal node with the bump node. I think you don't get the micro displacement correctly, if I can remember it. Yeah, I think it's because of that. Maybe it's in displacement issue of something. I think you cannot really use the normal and displacement together. But yeah, you can see that we are getting this darker kind of a line. It's not that dark, but it's still there. So if you want to, you can increase the multiply and the radius, and you should be able to get a little bit more thicker and darker line around the pupil. But yeah, this is actually it for the video. All I'm gonna do now is to fix some stuff behind the scene. For example, removing some of the black from this area. I think it's literally going inside of the eye, and we're gonna have to add this particular part, which is what you would call tear line. Yeah, I remember it literally now. Tear line is what we're gonna be adding next, because right now the eyeball seems different from the eyelid. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing in the next one. Alright, so in this video we are gonna be doing the tear line, and tear line is basically that water thing that you have at the edges of your eyelids, and this is what we are gonna be adding, by the way. And let's just look at the node, because I've did something behind the scene. First thing first, you can see that wait, what am I even doing? Yeah, okay, I baked the gradient into an image texture. That's what I've did. So that's what you can actually see. We don't have that color ramp and the gradient node anymore. We actually have a proper mask that we've baked. You can even see that onto the right, and I've decreased the value. So you can see that I've made the value multiply by 0.5, and we've decreased it down, and now this is actually looking a little bit better. You can say that it is a little bit too dark now, but we have the ability to just remove the multiply node, and we will be good to go. So I guess it's okay. You know, we can always just change that. So now we're gonna be doing the tear line. That's what this video is for, and we're gonna be doing it on the both sides, so the upper and the lower both. Because it's not really that complicated, and we should be able to just do that in one single video. So yeah, so it is actually one of the easiest thing to do, and all you need to do is you basically just need to trace down the corner of your eyelid and you're gonna see that how. So basically just go into your snap options and make sure that snap individual element is on move, rotate and scale on three of those actually. So just like we do the retopo, I really hope that you have a little bit of experience with the retopo. We are kind of doing the similar thing. So first thing first, we are gonna be matching, like lining up. I think is a better word. We're gonna be lining up the corners first. You can literally just delete the other vertices, yeah, and then just trace it down. So just control right click, and you should be able to just trace it down at the corner. Again, you don't really need to be super accurate with it. You're gonna see how like forgiveful it actually is. It is pretty, yeah, I don't know, man. Alright, so let's actually just trace it down. So this is like the first step, and it is pretty simple. You're gonna see that actually it is pretty forgiving. So we also have that in the corner, so we cannot really leave that, and we are basically just gonna be creating a full circle, right? And that way we'll be able to just do the both side in one mesh. So that's pretty cool. When you will be rigging, if you are doing this for animation, because tier line, you can make the tier line like this for animation as well. You can actually rig it, so that's pretty cool as well. So this particular method is not just for the portraits only. If you are doing this for animation, you can definitely just copy it. So now we're gonna be just extruding things out. So let's just extrude and yeah, push it out. So this is what we have, and let's just do the same thing for the upper part as well. So we're gonna be just extruding it out, and in order to make it look a little bit better, we have to adjust it like this. Again, you don't have to be super accurate, just do it fast. No, don't do it fast, just be decent amount of accurate. We just need to make sure that it does not really clip that much, even though it is clipping right now, but we are gonna be fixing that. And the real test is gonna be after the shader actually. After the shader, we're gonna be able to see how exactly it is looking in the viewport, and then we'll be able to adjust it a little bit better. So you can see that we don't have enough vertices on the corner, so I guess we can actually add some. But before we do that, let's actually adjust these outer vertices. Alright, so I think we should be good to go now, and yeah, let's just do the corner one as well. Alright, so this is what we have, and if you want to, by the way, you can actually just press Ctrl 2 to add some subdivisions. But now all we need to do is just repeat the same thing, but instead of putting them outwards, we're gonna be pushing them inwards, and you can actually just scale them down a little bit as well, so that you don't have to manually adjust all of them. They are pretty much perfect at this point, and we're gonna be doing the same thing for the bottom area as well. So just scale them down, and this is what we have. So yeah, let's actually just connect them now, and yeah, I think it should not be that complicated. So now that we've connected them, just adjust them to make it look a little bit better, and press Ctrl 2 in order to add a subdivision. And now you can see we have a little bit of intersection going on, which we actually don't need. So you can adjust the corner eye loop by sliding it outwards and then sliding it downwards, so that it actually comes out of the corner, but it still does not fix the intersection. So we're gonna have to manually just adjust these points so that they don't intersect as they are doing right now. Well, one of the things that you can do is you can actually add an edge loop where the upper eyelid, because the upper eyelid area is a little bit too broad, and okay, in this case I'm actually just adjusting the vertices. Again, the idea is to not let them intersect, because it could look a little bit weird, and I'm literally just undoing. I think I'm gonna be adding, yep, kinda knew it, gonna be adding an edge loop. So we are, I think, gonna be just shrink wrapping them at this point. Actually, not shrink wrapping them. I think I'm gonna grab and then let go of my, yeah, I'm gonna grab and then enter. So that's what I'm doing right now. so that they snap to the surface of our eyelid. Yeah, not shrink wrapping, but doing this manually. Okay, so this is what we have. Now we can actually just select everything and just push them outwards on the normal actually, so that they would be a little bit out, you know. Again, I don't want them to intersect. That's like one of the most important thing. Even though you can actually get away with a little bit of intersection, but still make sure that you fix whatever you can. Alright, so this is what we have. Okay, we have some intersection over here as well. So let's just push them out. Yeah, okay, there is no but. Let's actually just fix that first. I was about to say that we can actually just create the shader and fix this later. We might not even have to fix all of it actually. That's why. So yeah, but yeah, I guess it's fine fixing all this stuff first. So this is what we have. Let's actually just smooth it out. Obviously there are some intersection, but we can actually just fix them afterwards. But yeah, let's actually select the outer loops. As you can see, I have selected, and we're gonna go into the vertex paint mode because we are gonna be painting them with black. So I'm gonna be just enabling the vertex selection mode and gonna go to my paint option, and there is an option called set vertex color. The shortcut is, well, first we have to select the color. Shortcut is Control X. So you can just press that and you can see on the border we have black. So the idea is we are going to be using it as mask, and the border area is going to be transparent. So I really hope that actually makes sense. So let's use the vertex color now, and you can see the name is attribute. So we are also gonna be just using the same name, and now let's just put this into the alpha. So everything on the edges should be transparent, and we are just gonna be making it glass, like the material is going to be glass. So you can see this is what we have. So let's just go to the transmission, increase it to the full, and the roughness should be low. Also remember, the normals actually matters a lot, and you're gonna see that why actually. So you can see how it is looking. Well, the reason it is looking weird right now is because the normals are flipped. So make sure that your normals are correct. So you can see that I'm actually just fixing that, and after fixing you can see the render, and we've got the tear line. So this was before the normal was fixed, and this is after the normal was flipped. So if you are also getting the same problem, just make sure that you fix your normals, and it should be good to go. So now in order to increase the reflection area, what you can do, you can decrease the sharpness at the corner of your tear line mesh. So increase the bevel basically, and that's how you should be able to get a little bit more reflection if you want to. And on the upper side we are not really getting any because there is like in shadow and some shadow and stuff, so we don't really get any sort of reflection there, and that's why you cannot actually see the upper area. But if you were to point the light in the right direction, I'm pretty sure you should be able to see the reflection on the upper part as well. But yeah, you can see on the corner, because we didn't really completed the mesh, we have this sharper fall off. So we can actually fix that by just increasing the mesh, I think, or we can actually just correct them as well. So that is also something that we can do. In this case, am I even gonna do that? I think I'm gonna be doing that behind the scene. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that behind the scene. So instead of alpha, you can see that I'm using a transparent shader which is going through a color ramp, and I am actually adjusting the contrast in this case. So instead of literally just using the alpha, I am using the transparent. That's because I was not able to figure out that the problem was because of the normal, and as you can see, I'm literally just explaining you that. So you don't even need to create these shaders. The previous one would actually work fine. All you need to do is to just fix your normals, and it should be good to go. So you can see that's how you would just fix your normal. Just press Ctrl N in the edit mode, and I think it's Shift N now, right? I think it's Shift N now. I guess try both. One of them would definitely work. So this is how it would look. And again, in order to increase the reflection, oh, by the way, I've added a little bit of bump in terms of noise. So the idea was to break the reflection that we are getting in the tail line area, and in order to break the reflection, I've added the bump. Like I've used the texture, the noise texture, and put that through bump in order to distort the reflection a little bit. So you can see the like I'm using scale at 10, and this is going through bump, and the strength is pretty low, so that's how we are actually getting this distortion into the reflection, and this is what's giving us some natural look basically. So that's what we have. This is the tear line, and again, in order to get more reflection, you can basically increase the angle of the bend of your tear line. Basically don't have sharper corner of the tear line, make it a little bit smoother actually, and that way you are gonna be able to get more reflection out of it. So now all we need to do is to just mirror it, and obviously it's not a perfect mirror because we've adjusted the eyes. So in order to mirror, you just mirror your object and then manually adjust it, and you should be good to go. So yeah, that's what we've did in this video. And yeah, some of the videos, they were pretty short actually. I'm kind of liking it, it's also easier to record, I can actually just do them in one go. So yeah, now we're gonna have to do the hairs and the props and the clothes. So we are most probably gonna be doing a proxy sculpt first for the hairs and the clothes, and then we're gonna be doing the clothes because we need to figure out the volume, right? We have these volumes of the hairs, and on top of that the cloth is basically wrapping. So yeah, we're gonna have to do a proxy sculpt in order to figure the volume out, which we are gonna be doing in the next video. So yeah, we are finally at the prop section, and it would be fun actually. So yeah, I'm gonna see you in the next one.